Welcome back to Her Health Code. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Jess.
And I'm Michelle. And today we have something super exciting for you. We are starting our new monthly chapter, our new monthly series, which is all about the next chapter for women in midlife. And so today's guest is Carol Ann. She is a well renowned author and she is a recipe maker, and she has got so much knowledge and wisdom. We are so excited to get started with our interview with Carol Ann today.
Thank you for joining us, Carol Ann. So special to have you here, and we're honored that you accepted our invitation to be a guest today.
Well, I'm excited to be with you today, with both of you.
So, Carol Ann, let's just get started right away. Can you tell us a little bit about your life before everything changed for you?
Yes, I grew up in a corner market. We had a little teeny tiny store. It was so small that carts could only go in one direction. And it would be pretty busy. So if you forgot a can of beans, you would have to start all over again to go get that
Oh,
can of beans. My dad was a simple grocer who loved produce, and he taught me how to select superior produce before I learned to read.
wow.
When my parents died, we had two grocery stores. At that time, I lived in Denver with my husband and two children. We moved to Fort Collins to get involved in the business after I inherited my half interest in the grocery store. When we moved to Fort Collins, we had two grocery stores. By 2000 or by 1990, we had six grocery stores. We owned 9 pharmacies and a bakery production facility, which was picked In-Store Bakery of the Year by Retail Bakers of America in 1999. We opened a big new store on the corner of Drake and Worthington in Fort Collins. It was 63,000 square feet. It had talking milk cartons. It was really state of the art. It had a big deli with a take home meal section. The delis were named for me, Carol Ann's Delis. 2 months after we opened that store, the city closed the road in front of it. We
Mm,
were doing 390,000 a week at that store before the road closed. Afterwards, we were doing 190,000. Our customers couldn't get
mm,
there. We got behind with our supplier. They had agreed to turn what we owed them into a short-term note, and we could pay it off over 5 years. But the day the road opened, the road was closed for 6 months. The day the road opened, our supplier tried to take us over. They
mm.
came in and said, give us $1 million or give us your keys today. It
Oh,
was pretty stressful. Even our attorney didn't know what to do. Every time they would make an offer and we would agree to it, they would call the CEO back in Minneapolis and he would reject the offer. Look, by
mm,
midnight, no deal had been made, so everybody retreated home. We had a friend come visit us the next day. My daughter was in a carpool that night going somewhere, and she said something that she was concerned we might go bankrupt.
mm,
And she had said that in front of the mother who was driving the carpool, and the mother called me the next day and said they'd like to come over. So they came over and shared with us that they had had to take bankruptcy. But in talking with us, we didn't really share much with anyone, but we did with that couple. He suggested we sell one of our properties and lease it back in order to get the money to pay our supplier. So we did fight our supplier in federal court, and the case was dismissed because they had RICO violations. But it did cost us $1 million. We did
mm,
sell one of our properties to pay our legal bills. Things turned around slowly. We did get another supplier. Things turned around slowly, but we hired a man who had helped grocery stores go through we filed for reorganization in February of 2001 and had our plan approved. And then Super Walmart opened. And when another grocery store opens, it takes 3 or 4 months to get your sales back. And our creditors wouldn't give us that option. So we
mm.
were forced into Chapter 7. We were in our 50s. We had a friend tell us that nobody in town would hire us, that we would have to start another business. So
Oh,
it was a really stressful time. We
to say
lost
the
our
least.
health insurance. We had a garage sale every Friday to put food on the table. I
oh
just
my
put
gosh.
stuff in the garage and just left it there, and that's how we paid our bills, how we fed ourselves.
That's a lot for anybody, especially in your 50s when you think, all right, now I'm going to be on a cruise control. So when that business ended and you had to start all these garage sales and trying to just make a way for yourself, like how not only how did that feel logistically, but what about personally? Like how are you feeling during this time?
Well, you when you own a respected business in town, everyone wants to be your friend. When your bankruptcy makes the front page of the paper 11 out of 14 days, everybody you know and everybody you don't know knows your dirty laundry. We
Oh,
lost friends because we weren't good enough. We were sued, and my husband took a job doing turnaround management, and he was on the road flying to different cities looking at companies that were struggling to help them get turned around. So he was on the road. And one of our suppliers, who was a good friend, sued us for fraud. They owned a produce company, and our attorney told us at the end to pay all the local people first. So we had paid him, but the supplier that took over swiped our checking account before the check could clear. So he sued us for fraud. If he would have filed with the bankruptcy judge, he would have been the first to get paid because produce is the first. But I was thinking about it, and my husband was on the road, so I had to go see our attorney down in Denver. And he said to me, "You need to go see this man and ask him to drop the lawsuit." So I went to see him, and I didn't make an appointment because I didn't think he'd see me. But I waited in the waiting room, and when he came out, I spoke with him. And I said, I've just been to see our attorney, and there was no fraud. The people that took over, and I'm not going to use any names, swiped the account before you got your check cashed. I said, if you would have filed in a timely manner, you would have been the first to get paid. So he did drop the lawsuit, and I think about that as a important step in my life personally because it got me back on track that I had the
Mm.
courage to do that.
That was a big ask of your husband to send you somewhere on your own to make a big ask like that. That's a
Yeah.
lot to put on someone's shoulders for sure, but
Yeah.
it sounds like in the end it gave you back some confidence.
It did. And actually, I went to see the young man's parents. His father's father was my dad's best friend. And so I went to see them afterwards. And his wife said something to me that if there wouldn't have been so many egos in the business, that I would have been great running it. But she
Mm.
also told me that most women leave their husbands when they lose their money. So why did I stay with my husband? Because I loved him and it
Oh,
wasn't his fault.
yeah, it was very circumstantial. Obviously, this is all leading to a very difficult period in your life. What did you do to cope and to get through this time? There's so much going on with the loss of your business.
I don't think I coped very well in the beginning. I guess I was talking with my oldest daughter, and we closed the stores right before Thanksgiving. And it was Thanksgiving. I had to go shopping. I had to cook Thanksgiving dinner. I had to be thankful for what I did have. So we went to the King Soopers, which is a Kroger, and we got our shopping done, and we got to the check stand. And the checker said to me, "Do you have your King Soopers card?" And I burst into tears. And my daughter very quickly said, "No, we don't. We're here for a funeral." So
oh,
she gave us
She
the
covered
gift.
for.
Yeah. I really struggled. I think I was in a depression, and I was thinking that I was menopausal, and I was struggling with depression. I did self-medicate with alcohol, remembering that my youngest daughter was supposed to go get her driver's license. And she came home from school ready to go get her driver's license, and I wasn't ready. And she said to me, "You don't care about anything." And I was
Mm.
remembering that. So I think it was doubly hard for me because I was in menopause. We didn't have the money to go to the counselor or to get medical treatment. I'm the kind of person that when something happens and I don't know how to fix it, I find someone who can. But at that time of my life, I didn't. I thought that writing this story about mom and pop fighting the big corporations would be a good story. We lived our own personal version of the firm during that time where we had goons at the front door and the back door. They had someone in my husband's office. So I joined a writing group and I
All
started
right.
writing. And when we had the stores, people used to come to me when they needed something written because they said I had a way with words. So I started taking writing classes and I started writing little stories. I started writing my memoir. I have written a historical fiction book. In writing, I drove my husband crazy. uh, my favorite job at the store was to write recipes for our ad. So if we had pork chops in the ad, I would do a pork chop recipe. And as I got better at it, I would include multiple items in the ad in the recipe. So he said, "You have all these wonderful recipes. Why don't you write a cookbook?" So my recipes had been written over about a 15-year period. So
Wow.
I to redo because the style in recipes is important. I had to learn how to write a recipe. I included a history of our business in the store. I put some old ads in. I included grocery insider wisdom on how to select and store perishables. My cookbook was picked in the top 10 favorite by the Denver Post and it's won 3 national awards. It's a nice book, but I put my heart and soul into it as a tribute to my family for what we lost. I did as I've been writing. I didn't do social media or podcasts. I was very old school. And in 2001, I started a blog to really do social media and get my recipes and my wisdom out there. I was working with a young man named Bobby Crew who writes horror and likes snakes, so we have nothing in common. And we have a blog on how to save money at the grocery store. And one is when food inflation started. The supermarket industry will tell you the worst year for food inflation was 2022. That's when Putin invaded Ukraine, and Ukraine is the breadbasket of Europe. And that year, wheat prices soared 34% per metric ton. So
Mhm.
after my blog on saving money was successful, I spent a year I pulled my shopping information out of my cookbook and spent a year expanding it and included things like how to freeze milk and eggs and created grocery shopping secrets, which was when I did my Kindle campaign, it was an international bestseller on Amazon in the US, France, and Australia. And it's won 10 awards.
That's
Wow.
amazing. Carol, I just want to pause 1 minute and take the listeners back to that one pivotal moment. It sounds like taking that writing class was that big moment that changed the trajectory of your life. Am I right?
I think it was joining the writers group.
Joining that
I
writers group.
because I became friends with people who like to write and we really bonded. We became a really solid support group. So I think I had a good friend who self-published a book about Fort Collins. She was a journalist and she started the writing group. I did self-publish my cookbook because if you're going to get a publisher, it takes several years. You have to finish the book, then you have to
Mm.
find someone, you have to find an agent to represent you. Then you have to find a publisher that will publish it. It takes several years if you're lucky. And I wanted to
Mhm.
get it out. We were a very well respected business in our town, and I wanted to give our customers a happy memory. Well, I
Huh.
learned about the publishing business. I joined Colorado Independent Publishers and learned about publishing and marketing books.
Wow. I love that. And it all started with one brave step to do something different. I mean, that writers group sounds like something that was completely just new and different for you, but it was one thing that you did that took you on this journey. It's amazing.
So, what would you say to some of our listeners that are feeling really stuck and that they're in midlife and they're in menopause and they're feeling like their life is over? What would you say to them that was the hardest part of recreating yourself and starting a whole new business, a whole new you?
I think after what I went through, I lost a lot of self-confidence, and I think
Yeah.
that one small step at a time. My husband gave me a little plaque, which I still have today in my family room, that is a Winston Churchill quote. If you think you're going through hell, just keep going.
I love it.
I do love that.
That's amazing.
So, is that kind of the little mental mantra you would tell yourself in your mind as you were navigating all of this?
Yes, yes.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
even today, we had some, damage to our bathroom, and we had to have our bathroom redone, and so we hired a young man to repair it, who did a nice job on the tile, but he banged up the walls and the cupboards, and he didn't clean up after himself, and our garage is a disaster, and so I just tell myself when I'm trying to clean it up, one thing at a time. Let's get one thing done,
One
one
thing
step at
done.
a time.
Well, you've done so many amazing things, Carol Ann. Can you tell us a little bit more about how you help women like budget their groceries, for the week? Because I know a lot of women are really struggling because the prices in grocery stores are so high right now. Can you give us some of your tips and tricks on how to help women shop better and make better meals for their family?
Okay, so I think that the most important thing in my book is learning to distinguish the good, the bad, and the ugly. I don't know if you've ever been in the grocery store and seen a shriveled up tomato that has fungus on it or a shriveled up pepper, and you think, does the produce clerk think I'm blind that I would buy this? So, the produce is not as good a quality as it used to be. And for example, with cauliflower, I was shopping one day in the store for cauliflower, and when cauliflower starts to deteriorate, it will get little brown spots on it. And I said to the produce clerk, "Do you have any cauliflower that hasn't started to tear or turning brown?" And she said, "This just came off the truck. This is all we had."
Oh,
So if
wow.
that's all they have, you buy it if you want to make cauliflower. But that week, my week was discombobbled and I didn't get that cauliflower made for 5 days. So by the time I was able to prepare it, it had turned brown deep inside, and so I lost most of it. So I think
Oh.
you could really save money by learning the good, the bad from the ugly. I
Mm.
also think it's important I think the FDA says we could save $1,500 to $2,000 by eliminating waste. So one thing I think people throw away a lot of food because they don't understand the sell-by dates. So my book is full of information on um, using food beyond the sell-by date. So, for example, eggs will be good for 3 to 5 weeks beyond the sell. So,
Wow.
how do you tell if an egg is bad? You put it in a bowl or pan of water, and if it floats, you know you shouldn't eat it. Milk is good for 3 to 7 days past the sell-by date. How do we know if milk isn't good? We give it a good sniff. And if it
Mhm.
it smells bad, we shouldn't eat it. I think it's also important to pay attention to unit pricing. Sometimes we think by going to Costco or Sam's and buying a big package
Mhm.
that we're going to save money. Nature Valley sweet and salty granola bars that they sell for 17.49 or 36 cents a bar has a 36 count package for 11.28 or 31 cents a bar. So you could see
Hmm.
that buying it at Sam's versus Costco, you're going to save money. And also, just because you buy it at Sam's or Costco, it isn't necessarily going to be cheaper. So I think that's another important thing to think about.
Mm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You have to make sure that you're knowing what's on sale, right?
Yeah.
And being aware of each week what's going on in the stores.
Absolutely.
We definitely make our rounds
Yes, yes,
downtown.
yes. We like
Yeah.
to definitely shop at a few different stores trying to hunt for the best deal.
Yes.
Yeah, it does take time, but it's worth it. I think in the long run, you save a lot of money. So, Carol Ann, we're always talking about food on our show. We're like kind of obsessed with talking about
Yes.
food and meal planning. And we actually have once a month, we do at the beginning of the month, a meal of the month. We call it our mom show. And we give a couple of new ideas that we have for recipes that we're going to make that month. So, do you have any tips for women? A couple of quick meal ideas that they could put on the table that takes not a lot of time and also budget friendly.
My favorite fast meal, which is really not a recipe, but I like to do salmon. I put a little bit of olive oil on it, some minced garlic, and chopped dill, and I cook it for 25 to 30 minutes at 350. And then I do roasted garlic and roasted new potatoes, and I toss those with a little bit of olive oil and, believe it or not, Montreal steak seasoning. And I can have that prepared. The prep time is about 10 minutes and dinner's ready in about 45. Cook the vegetables for 40 to 45 minutes at 400, and the salmon. So I put that in first. That's my favorite easy, no recipe meal.
That's a good one.
And it's healthy. You
Yeah,
get
and
a
it's
lot of
so
good
good for you.
omegas. Yeah.
Yeah, so good for you. So I just want to take us back one more time, back to that time in your life when you were really struggling and life was really hard. What about that time gave you that resilience? You were really struggling. You were not using the bet. You were using alcohol as coping. You were, in kind of in a dark place. Your kids were still at home. At least one of them was at home. What like in your mind pulled you out of that space to say, you know what, I need to do something still. I'm not done yet.
I think it was putting myself in the chair and writing that cookbook. Salvaging the work that I had done with the recipes for the paper and putting them into a meaningful, uh, nostalgic, helpful, uh, book. I think that it took me back to happy times, but it also helped me make a happy memory of something really hard.
Really good advice for anyone who's going through something. I feel like a lot of times, you just feel stuck and you feel lost and you don't know
Hmm.
what to do. And sometimes it just takes that one thing that maybe is near and dear to your heart to focus on it.
I put my heart and my soul into it, and I don't know if I have closure in working on that memoir. It's been 25 years, and you have to be healed to do a memoir with some introspection. And you ladies have really helped me because I was in menopause when that happened. And
Hmm.
my coping, uh, the way I handled it wasn't somewhat hormonal.
But in that time of
True.
life, I think it's hard for any of us to really kind of discern between what is hormones, what is life, what is reality. I think when we're in it, it's hard to see, it's hard to see beyond that.
Yes, it was really hard for me to see beyond that. And I don't think until I visited with you ladies that I understood even this in this much time that menopause did affect me.
How are your kids feeling about just how you were able to pick yourself up from the ashes and literally recreate yourself? I mean, they have to be so beyond proud of you and, just filled with pride that they watched basically you pick yourself up and recreate yourself.
Yes, I think my daughters are very proud of me. I think my granddaughter's very proud of me. I'm in a program called National Authors in Grocery Stores, which Kroger participates in. And so I go into the grocery store and sell my books. And my granddaughter came in and took a picture of me and put it on her social media and said, this is my almost 76-year-old grandma out selling her books.
I love that. I love that. You are definitely proof that you are never too old to do any of your dreams.
Not at all. And
No,
that must bring you so much joy. But Carol, is there anything else in your life that you turn to for joy at this time?
I really like to garden. I love gardening. My grandson is playing baseball, and I love going and watching him play baseball. He's hit 2 home
Mhm.
runs.
Wow.
How old is he?
He's 16. He's just
Wow.
started pitching, and some days he does great, and some days he doesn't. And so I think back on my own life and I go, yeah, some days you do great, and some days you don't. It's part of our
Exactly.
journey, and it's fun to watch them on life's journey.
Hmm.
Yes.
Because that's what it truly is, right, Carol Ann? It's a journey. Some days are great, and some days we're on our butt, trying to get through it.
Yeah. Some days
Yeah.
you're just wondering what's going to get you out of bed.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, is there anything else that you would like to share with our listeners, Carol Ann, before we wrap up our discussion today?
I have an Aunt Tommy who once said when we were going through the attempted corporate takeover, don't ever give up.
Hmm.
We as women should never give up. As we get older, we feel like we're invisible, that we don't have any worth. And I think, especially in our culture, it's hard because we value youth and not wisdom. And the
Mm,
world changes so much that the wisdom from my generation isn't necessarily wisdom other generations want. But don't
mm.
ever give up.
I love that.
I love that too. And it makes me really sad to hear you say that because as I get older and older, I realize that wisdom is gained through our lives and through experiences and through our interactions with others and through the good and the bad. And to say that not being able to gather wisdom from our elders, that it's not relevant to the younger generations. I think that we're kind of in a time and a place where it feels like that right now, a lot with especially technology and
Hmm.
AI. But I really do hope that we can keep our humanness and value each other's wisdom because it's really how we stay connected to each other.
Yes.
Yes,
But
absolutely.
also, as women, I think, too, you said in our culture, we aren't valuing women as they get older. And I just really think that that is sad. And I hope that it begins to become a new story now that
Yeah.
we're writing here. I think with the knowledge of what happens to women during this transition, we could become more valuable, not less.
Yes. And that was really our hope for trying to do something like this series really showing and highlighting women's chapter 2, because we believe that life's not over when we hit midlife, that it's literally just the beginning of a second life.
New chapter.
Yes. Well, it has been for me.
Thank you for sharing that with
Yes.
us and for being our first guest on our new chapter.
Yes. Thank you so much, Carol Ann. In fact, I want you to read that Winston Churchill quote one more time before we close for those ladies that didn't hear it.
If you think you're going through hell, just keep going.
I love it. I love it. Thank you, Carol Ann,
Perfect.
so much for joining us today. You have been truly such a blessing and so much wisdom and so much information. We will actually leave all your information for our listeners to check out your books and check out your blog so they can connect with you as well.
Carol Ann has a beautiful social media as well. So we'll link to that so that
Hmm.
people can connect with you. And do you have anything else that you would like to share?
There is a place on my website to get my free soup recipes, my favorite free soup
Oh,
recipes.
Oh, we will definitely check that out.
yes, we're definitely there. I love
You
soup.
can get my blog, and then if you're interested in my memoir, I will be updating things when my memoir comes out.
Okay.
So, Carol Ann, when is that going to come out?
I hope to finish it this year, but you ladies have given me a whole new twist on the end.
Yay. Yay.
Please let us know when it's
Yes.
finished and we can have you back on.
Yes, we would love to do that. That would be
You
great. And I
can
can't wait to see what the twist is and how it finishes out for you.
Oh, yes.
absolutely. Yeah, you can give our listeners an update as well.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Carol Ann.
Thank you, Carol Ann. Have a blessed day.
You too. It was wonderful to meet you.